Good morning, everyone. I will be discussing the weather types of the Philippines. But before that, let's have some definitions about weather. To Wikipedia, weather is a state of the atmosphere describing, for example, the degree to which it is hot or cold, wet or dry, calm or stormy, clear or cloudy. Weather refers to the day-to-day temperature, precipitations, and other atmospheric conditions. The Philippines has five types of climate: the tropical rainforest, the tropical monsoon, the tropical savanna, humid subtropic, and oceanic. Both are in the higher altitude areas, characterized by the relative high temperature, oppressive humidity, and plenty of rainfall. Also, there are three recognized seasons: tag-init or tag-araw, the hot seasons or summer, from the month of March to May; tag-ulan, the rainy season, from June to November; and taglamig or the cold season, from December to February. Climate types. Based on the distribution of rainfall, four climate types are recognized, which are described as follows. Typhoons have a great influence on the climate and the weather conditions of the Philippines. The great portion of the rainfall, humidity, and cloudiness are due to the influence of typhoons. They generally originate in the regions of the Marianas and Caroline Islands of the Pacific Oceans, which have the same latitudinal locations as Mindanao. Their movements follows a westerly direction, sparing Mindanaos from being directly hit by the majority of the typhoons that cross the country. This makes the southern Philippines very desirable for agriculture and industrial development. The seasons. Using temperature and rainfall as basis, the climate of the country can be divided into two major seasons. Number one, the rainy season, from June to November. And number two, the dry season, from December to May. The dry season may be subdivided further into the cool, dry season, from December to February, and the hot, dry season, from March to May. Rainfall. Rainfall is the most important climatic element in the Philippines. Rainfall distribution throughout the country varies from the region to another, depending upon the directions of the moisture-bearing winds and the locations of the mountain system. The mean annual rainfall of the Philippines varies from 965 to 4,064 millimeters annually. Baguio City, Eastern Samar, and Eastern Surigao receive the greatest amount of rainfall, while the southern portions of Cotabato receives the least amount of rain. At General Santos City, in Cotabato, the average annual rainfall is only 978 millimeters. Humidity. Humidity refers to the moisture content of the atmosphere due to high temperature and the surrounding bodies of water. The Philippines has a high relative humidity. The average monthly relative humidity varies between 71% in March and 85% in the September. The combination of warm temperature and the high relative and absolute humidities give rise to high sensible temperature throughout the archipelago. It is especially uncomfortable during March to May, when temperature and humidity attain their maximum level. The temperature of the Philippines. Based on the average of all weather stations in the Philippines, including Baguio, and the mean annual temperature is 26.6 degrees Celsius. The coolest months fall in January with a mean temperature of 25.5 degrees Celsius, while the warmest month occurs in May with a mean temperature of 28.3 degrees Celsius. Latitude is an insignificant factor in the variations of temperature, while altitude shows greater contrast in temperature. Thus, the mean annual temperature of the Baguio, with an elevation of 150 meters in 18.3 degrees Celsius. This makes the temperature of Baguio comparable with those in the temperature climates, and because of it is known as the summer capital of the Philippines. The difference between the mean annual temperature of the southernmost station in Zamboanga and that of the northernmost stations in Lawag is insignificant. In other words, there are essential to difference in the mean annual temperature of places in Luzon, Visayas, or Mindanao measured at or near sea level. Climate of the Philippines. The climate of the Philippines is tropical and maritime. It is characterized by the relative high temperature, high humidity, and abundance of rainfall. It is similar in many respects to the climate of the countries of Central America. Temperature, humidity, and rainfall, which are discussed hereunder, are the most important climates of the country's weather and climates.